Had that been a real rabbit, like a live wild rabbit, I'd now be considered a poacher, illegal in the state of South Australia. For shooting a rabbit, not because I went to Africa and shot a lion in the fucking face, but because I killed one of, if not the most destructive invasive species that has ever been introduced to this country. What an amazing time to be alive, eh? Yeah. Who would have thought that rabbits are now a protected species? Wild rabbits. Protected from bow hunters, anyway. My name's Jacob. Welcome to Choo. In this video, I'm going to talk all about the recent, at least recent and from the time of recording, bow hunting ban that's been implemented in South Australia. Now, if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know I typically avoid talking about politics for the most part because I find that subject to be very polarizing, and Choo is supposed to be a happy place for all different types of people from all over the world. I don't care if you're a leftist, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're black, white, I don't care if you're from another country, gay, straight, trans. As long as you're not a fucking asshole, you're welcome to have a big pot of stew at my hearth. In other words, you're welcome to this channel. But this is a channel mostly about self-sufficiency, cooking, home brewing, you know, and a reliance on providing your own food, which is foraging, hunting, fishing, growing, and trading. And now one of those 5 pillars of self-sufficient food, I guess obtaining your own food, I don't know what the right terms, has now been stripped away from me because I hunt with a bow. It is now illegal to hunt with a bow. Unless, of course, you're shooting carp, but why the fuck would you waste your time with that? Throw a bit of corn on a hook, bang, you got yourself a carp. Don't worry though, this channel is not going to turn political. This is a one-off video because I mentioned it a couple of times and I got a few comments. So let's talk about the bow hunting ban here in South Australia and why I think it's fucking bullshit. So first of all, I don't claim to be an expert hunter, okay? I took to the bow because it was cheaper and easier than taking to the gun. I haven't had much experience with guns, but I've had plenty of experience with archery. I'm okay at it. And then after years of practice, I finally went out and got my first kill, and I was very, very happy with it. So I'm not here pretending to be something I'm not. I've probably shot about 100 rabbits and hares, and that's about it. I've raised plenty of animals for slaughter. I've butchered plenty of animals that other people have shot. But personally, I've only ever shot small game because that's what I was confident in doing. I could get really close to these animals. I knew I could get a nice kill. I'm not in an area that had pigs. There are deer around, but finding private property, etc., etc., I wasn't that confident. I'm self-taught for the most part. So that's my background. But I have shot plenty of animals, and I do it purely to eat them. The fact that I get to take them out like a pest out of the environment is a bonus. The fact that they're highly nutritious and delicious, rabbits and hares, is another bonus. But the main reason I hunt is the same reason I fish, is for food, for nourishment, to provide food for me and my friends and family. From December 1st, 2024, the South Australian government, in all of its myriad wisdom, has decided that bow hunting is now illegal. The only thing you're allowed to shoot legally is carp, and then, like I said earlier, who gives a shit, right? I'm not anti-carp, I've got plenty of carp videos, but why waste your time with a bow when it's really easy to catch? So you can no longer shoot rabbits, deer, pigs, anything. Literally any animal that you were previously allowed to kill, you're not allowed to shoot anymore with a bow. Why? So as you could imagine, this is a lobbying campaign, right? Spearheaded by animal rights groups such as the RSPCA. The RSPCA were a major contributor to pushing through this bow hunting ban. I'm probably very anti-RSPCA, despite being a volunteer with them for 5 years. My wife was also a volunteer. I mostly did dog walking and fundraising and event organisation. But the reason I ended up quitting was because I found them to be extremely hypocritical, which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm not anti-animal rights groups. I'm very much left-leaning, and I'm going to talk about left versus right a little bit later on. This is not a left versus right issue. This is an up versus down, i.e. class warfare, and I'll explain that in more detail later on. But I think the RSPCA are a bunch of fucking hypocrites for one major reason. One, this bow hunting ban doesn't make any sense from an ethical point of view. Two, these guys have factory farmed meat at every single one of their fundraisers. Like I said, I was a volunteer for the RSPCA and I organised a lot of these events back in the day, and they gave me the shittest fucking budget imaginable and sent me to the supermarket to buy the shittest fucking meat. We're talking dirty birds, man. I'm not anti-farming. I don't like large-scale monoculture, but that's a video for another day, if at all. But factory farms, we can all agree, are pretty fucking nasty. There's nothing wrong with eating meat. I eat shitloads of it, mostly meat. But the RSPCA is saying I'm not allowed to go shoot a rabbit, but I'm allowed to go buy these torture birds and pigs and all this fucking shit to serve. Does not compute. The other reason why I think the government and the RSPCA are hypocrites is because these rabbits are now being poisoned in the Adelaide Hills area and in South Australia, which is a very, very painful, slow, inhumane way to go. I'm not saying we shouldn't poison rabbits, we need to cull these motherfuckers, but how is me with a 60-pound compound bow killing a rabbit instantly through the fucking face and then eating it less ethical than having it bleed and shit out its eyes and asshole for a week and then slowly die or be torn apart by other animals because it can't defend itself, or freezing to death because it can't find any nourishment or anything or get to its home? It's not. It's just fucking not. So how did this go ahead? Here's what happened. The RSPCA lobbied on a few stories. One, allegedly, a guy shot his neighbour's cat with a bow. Neighbour's cat kept coming in his yard. The guy got all pissed off at his neighbour, so he shot the fucking cat. Just note, he's not a hunter. He was not hunting. What he did was illegal. I don't like cats. I'm not going to shoot my fucking neighbour's cat because it's wrong, okay, and it's illegal. Second thing, a guy shot a possum in his ceiling. He had a possum in his crawl space, got pissed off with it, went up there, shot the possum, wasn't using a hunting bow, he was not a hunter. The possum didn't die. There's all these photos of possums with arrows in it. People shoot shit all the time. It's not right. Don't fucking do it. Third one was somebody shot a sea lion, somebody shot a bunch of horses. I want you to take note of what I'm saying here. Shooting a neighbour's cat, shooting a possum, shooting a sea lion, shooting a fucking horse is all illegal prior to the bow hunting ban. These are not people hunting animals. These are not hunting accidents. These are criminals doing criminal things. How is stopping me from shooting a rabbit going to stop somebody who was already prepared to break the law in the first place? Think about it. It's fucking not. It's like people who drink drive. Do you ban driving because someone drunk drive and killed someone or caused an accident? No, you ban drink driving, okay? You make the act of drinking, of driving under the influence, illegal. Somebody shooting a cat doesn't make sense to stop someone shooting a rabbit, because it was already illegal to shoot that cat. So how is making something else unrelated illegal stopping the criminal from committing a crime? It doesn't. All it does is turn otherwise law-abiding citizens into criminals if they continue to bow hunt. It's nonsensical, but it looks good on paper. Bow hunting bad, let's stop it. So the RSPCA and a bunch of other animal rights groups got together, lobbied the government, who couldn't give a fuck. And now I'm saying I'm not conservative. I'm very much left-leaning, but I really don't like politicians, and especially the political system in this country. This is why I typically avoid talking about it, because everyone gets all fired up all the time. The government, all politicians, doesn't matter if you're left or right, just go have a look at bow hunting in Tasmania, go and look at the duck hunting ban in Victoria. There's lots of conservative politicians from the right side of the political spectrum who are anti-hunting, okay? And there's a lot of lefties who are pro-hunting. So let's not turn this into a left versus right thing, okay? This is an up versus down thing. South Australian government saw this as an opportunity to score political points. We're going to stop animal cruelty. Who doesn't want to stop animal cruelty, right? Then you've got the backing of these respected animal rights groups helping out. The government runs on this, not enough people kicked up a stink, party got in, bow hunting ban gets implemented because they promised to do it, and typically, they're going to follow through because they don't want to lose political points. So this is why the government did it. The government doesn't care about the cruelty towards animals, because if they did, they wouldn't be poisoning them. If they did, they'd shut down factory farming on a mass scale. They don't. They just want to look good on paper. It's a way for a government to pretend to achieve something without actually achieving anything at all, and they do it all the fucking time. It looks like a win for the RSPCA, it looks like a win for conservation and animal rights, but really all it's doing is stripping away rights from us, who, by the way, I'm removing the pests from the environment and providing food for my family. How the fuck is that a bad thing? When I hit these rabbits, which I can stalk within 20 meters, I don't take shots over 30 meters, but I'm using a very high-powered bow with nice broadheads on there, well, bunny busters these days. My previous video, I wasn't, but now I am. Well, was, until they made it illegal. This rabbit dies instantly. I can hit this thing anywhere, it's gonna fucking explode, alright? I typically aim for the head because I want to preserve the meat. It's not more cruel or more efficient or less efficient than a gun. It's preposterous. Like I said, it's political point scoring at its finest. When I said it's class warfare, you might be going, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, this is obviously a lefty, fucking loony left, the greenie. No. What is the penalty for breaking this law? If you get caught bow hunting, it is a $1,000 fine. That's it. It's not even criminal. Maybe for repeat offenders, it doesn't specify. I'd imagine if you get caught doing the same thing over and over again, those penalties are going to escalate. But presently, as a one-off, it's a $1,000 fine. This is why it is class warfare, because it means those on lower incomes, those who are struggling to make ends meet, this is a very challenging time economically, especially in the midst of a massive housing crisis. $1,000 is a lot of money to some people. It's a lot of fucking money to me. It's not a lot of money to those who have a lot of money. Fines should be a percentage, in my opinion. So that way, if you're a millionaire and you get fined $1,000, who the fuck cares? Bow hunt to your heart's content. If you're on a lower income, $1,000 might be your mortgage or your rent for the week. It might be the food on your table. It might be your electricity bill or your utility bills put aside. It's a big fucking deal. There's a huge difference between $1,000 for someone like me and someone on the upper end of the financial spectrum. This is why it is class warfare, because it means the rich are going to continue to roll those dice, because if they get caught, $1,000. They don't want to lose $1,000, but it's not the end of the world. So this is why it is class warfare, because they don't have a demerit system. Like, I don't love revenue raisers, by the way, but if you have a look at anybody who breaks the law driving, not only do you get a fine, but you also get demerit points. You lose enough of those points, you lose your license. Doesn't matter how fucking rich you are. Bow hunting, on the other hand, as long as you got money, you can continue to shoot until your heart's content. This is why it has absolutely nothing to do with left versus right, because there's both pros and people who are pro-hunting and people who are anti-hunting on all sides of the political spectrum, but it is a class thing, because it means the rich, as we know, can continue, fuck that son, Jesus, continue to get away with whatever they want as long as they can afford to. Some of us can't afford to. That son is brutal. So, how did this happen? Well, it's because not enough people kicked up a stink. You might be thinking, no, it's bullshit. I wrote signed the petition. Yeah, we all fucking did. I even made a few comments in my videos. It's true. Not enough people gave a shit about it, therefore it got through. There's examples of when protesting actually works. I'm not going to name specific politicians because I want this to remain sort of, timeless in a way. But many, many years ago, there was a government who proposed an internet filter in Australia, similar to what they've got in China, banning certain things to stop nasty content ending up in the eyes of children, right? Now, in theory, that makes a lot of sense. We don't want our kids seeing gross porn and all this fucked up shit. You watch gross porn when you're 18, right, guys? The point is, everyone fucking hated the idea, and people went absolutely mental on all sides of the political spectrum, and guess what? They scrapped it. Why? Because they weren't going to win those political points, and it could have cost them the election. They scrapped the internet filter idea and won the election anyway. Similar thing happened here in South Australia. The same fucking government that banned bow hunting saved a very popular rock and roll. There was a pub, the Crown and Anchor, affectionately known as the Cranker, was owned by a foreign company. They were going to turn it into student accommodation. They still kind of are, but us Adelaideans took to the fucking streets and went mental because this is a music institution. Some of the most awesome bands have passed through there. I've fucking got shit-faced there a ton of times. I'm a heavy metal guy, you know this if you know me. So we all protested, and enough people got so fucking shitty that the government was going to allow this, even though it was well within their power to class this building internally and externally as heritage listed. Therefore, you cannot smash it down. And they did, because enough people went, fuck you, and they saved the Cranker. Not enough people went, fuck you, to the bow hunting thing, because there's just probably not enough of us. And again, people get tricked by all these photos. Like, look at all the RSPCA photos. They're all showing animals being shot. No one wants to see a deer with a fucking arrow through its head, alive. Nobody wants to see a cat or a possum riddled with fucking arrows. That's gross, and it's cruel, and I don't want to see that shit. But that's not the point, because bow hunters aren't shooting fucking possums, okay? They're not shooting deer in the fucking face. These are dickheads doing this, and they're using those dickheads as examples for the rest of us, and that is why this is absolutely bullshit. Nobody kicked up enough of a fuss. It got through. And this is why I believe it to be not a left versus right thing. I really want to stress that point. This is an up versus down thing. The rich versus the poor. Class warfare. Because us minority, and I'm not saying a white person's a minority, I'm saying bow hunters are typically the minority in the outdoor hunting community. There wasn't enough of us causing enough noise, so it got through. There was enough people going, this kind of sucks. You might be thinking, what's the point in protesting, right? It doesn't work. Well, I've just given two examples, the internet filter and the Cranker, and there's countless examples of where protesting does work. Not because the politicians give a shit about you or anything, but they give a shit about winning votes. And that's why I say this all the time, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Protest, 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 make enough noise, and you know what? Maybe nothing will fucking change, but it certainly won't change if you just sit back and do fucking nothing at all. I don't know if enough of us could have got together to stop this bow hunting ban, but doing nothing didn't fucking do anything now, did it? I've been Jacob. You've been watching Choo. I wish I could leave this video on a happier note. I don't usually make videos like this. Don't worry, next week I've got a really fun fucking video coming out. It's all about delicious mushrooms and home brewing and distillation, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Leave a comment and get a friendly discussion going. Don't start banging on about the loony left. I'll just delete your comments. We don't have free speech in our constitution. This is my fucking playground. I'm the boss. Don't be a cunt. Like I said, I don't care which side of the political spectrum you're on, as long as you're not a cunt. Alright? I love you guys very much. I'll see you in the next one.